Changes, changes, changes. That's what the fans and the media cried for at the NHL's GM meetings. We all know the NHL doesn't want to change. Along with them, here's some other things unlikely to change. Fat people falling, that will always be funny. Mel Gibson's views on the Jews, definitely likely that will never change as well. And Charlie Sheen's underwear during a 3-day bender. You can only reverse them once, Charlie, before it's considered gross. What do you do? When you're on a 3-day bender, Ken, you don't change your underwear, do you?
I'm not sure I want to admit to the world I've been on a 3-day bender before, Corey.
We know you're not. We know you're not Charlie Sheen. So, I want to ask you about Chara's hit on Pacioretty. Before we get into it, tell me, did you think it was dirty or not?
Definitely not. Montreal media has blown it way out of proportion. Finished his check. They both looked up. The partition happened to be there. They run into it. It was obviously the outcome of the injury. I've seen hits like that numerous amount of times. The outcome wasn't what it was. There was no major concussion. There was no vertebrae injury. No big deal.
Whoa. But so you're saying that you're blaming the victim here?
It's not the victim. It's the game. It's the reality of the game. It's not his fault. It's the size of the player. It's the size of Chara going in with the force. It's unfortunate. It's part of the game. Let it go.
Did you ever do that to a player? Did you ever try and ride him into the stanchion?
I've probably tried to ride a guy's head into the glass before, but not necessarily into the end piece.
So like do you think Chara was? You think Chara was trying to do that? Do you think he was trying to run his head into the glass?
Absolutely not.
But you just said you tried to do it, so what would be the insurance to say that he wasn't trying to do it?
Chara wasn't as aggressive player as me.
No, well, we all know that he wasn't as aggressive as you, Ken Belanger. But what I want to know is there's players out there who will specifically try and ride a player's head into the stanchion, so why can't we say that he was trying to do it?
Well, players wouldn't this day and age deliberately run the head into the end piece. Let's not forget here, taking accountability. The hockey world is watching the game on a videotape, a television, which is a lot slower than game speed. Had you put that in game speed, it's seconds. They're looking down for the puck. They look up. He looks at it like he's finishing a check. It happens at the end piece of the glass, and it's over. Now we've got the media, the police. It's ridiculous.
So on the ice at the time of the incident was Roman Hamrlik, Brian Giunta, Scott Gomez, and James Wisniewski. What would you expect any of those guys to do in this situation?
Well, it depends on are we trying to promote violence in the game? Because the hit itself was a finished check.
No, we're trying to avenge a clean hit the way that a lot of other guys in the NHL seem to want to do.
Avenge. So we're talking about avenging hits now. So almost, looking at revenge as a part of the game, which is not.
Well, it clearly is because the way that the NHL has dealt with things over the last 15 years, revenge has always been a part of it. So I'm asking you, what do you expect those guys to do? It wasn't actually a clean hit because they deemed it interference and he got 5 in a game for it. But in terms of the players on the ice, do you expect any of them to actually physically go out there and confront Chara?
No, absolutely not. And, I look at the part of the game where it used to be, I say revenge, and what are they supposed to do? Because that's what the new NHL is looking, the new era is that, this is all, no one does anything, helps each other out. But I tell you, the old school hockey, what would have happened is someone went over and 6 guys would have jumped on him. Someone would have left the bench and jumped on him, but obviously that's not the reality anymore. Was it a dirty looking hit? Absolutely. Was it intentional? Absolutely not.
I might be one to disagree with that because I know that Zdeno Chara probably doesn't like Max Pacioretty a lot, and he's thinking, hey, this little puke is skating by me, and now I have a chance to drive his head into the end boards and the glass. I'm going to do it. Anyways, tell me what happens on March 24th when these two teams meet again.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I mean, who does Montreal Canadiens have in their system, in their lineup, that's actually remotely going to compete against the Boston Bruins? So will the media, I mean, you know what's going to happen? The media is going to blow up like crazy. The TV ratings, the internet ratings, everything's going to go out of control. Great for everybody, for selling ads.
It's great for us.
Absolutely.
This is a great topic for us. But what I want to know is before the game, in the locker room, what is going on? Are they, because Montreal Canadiens players are not known to be overly physical. So do you think most of these guys are just going to be afraid of Zdeno Chara and nothing will happen?
Nothing will happen. I'll tell you why. Chara makes $6-7 million a year. If that was Thornton that done that, it would be a whole different story. There would be guys saying, now you're one of our fourth line guys. All you do is fight, taking out one of our top skilled players. Zdeno Chara is not known for what happened, nor does he have that, he doesn't have the reputation. He plays the game hard. He fights when he has to. He never makes, the big open ice dirty checks. So the reality is nothing will happen during that game from the players' standpoint.
So you were involved in the incident with Donald Brashear and Marty McSorley, and the cops got involved with that. Now the cops are getting involved in this. Do you think that they really have a place in the game?
No, it's ridiculous. When the players sign a contract, you're playing the game of hockey. You know what comes with playing the game of hockey. Now we've got the police who feel that they need to step in to make a presence. Go arrest somebody on the street. Jump back on your horse.
Well, if it's against the criminal code to do that, then don't they have a case, regardless of where it is?
It's a game. It's on the ice. What happens in the rink stays in the rink. It's not in the stands. It's on the ice. The player's under contract. Let the league decide what happens, not the police.
But you have a weapon in your hands, which is a stick. Marty McSorley took advantage of that, and he whacked Donald Brashear across the face with it. And when he did that, the cops got involved, and you were there for that, weren't you?
I was, and I thought it was ridiculous.
So what happened with the cops when they went to Brashear, or they went to McSorley, I believe it was in Edmonton, right?
Correct.
What happened?
We played in Vancouver the night before, and it was an incident where it was sort of the first time police had, I guess, felt necessary to be involved in an on-ice event. And it was pretty quiet that evening. We flew to Edmonton the next morning. We were at the rink practicing, and the police came in from Vancouver, and they pressed him with assault charges.
And were guys around the league kind of thinking, like, these guys don't have a place being here. What are they doing?
Absolutely. It crossed the line of the game where guys, what he done was wrong. There's no question. Did the police get involved? What he did, what he done.
There you go.
All of a sudden, thesaurus on the other side there is correcting me. I do appreciate that. English major. I
never said I was an English major. I was just correcting you.
I would assume you were through the corrections. I just assumed that. That assumption, I guess.
Huh.
So
okay, carry on.
So it did. It crossed the line. I thought it was ridiculous when he came in. They thought it was ludicrous. We're like, what do you mean the police are taking away charge of assault? It was something that no one had seen or heard of before, and it crossed the line. No one had any respect for that whatsoever.
Okay, before we move on, I just want to correct you one more time. Did you say he come in or he came in?
Who came in?
Okay, whatever. That was all I wanted to know. But anyways,
must be one of your computers.
It could be. We had some connection problems today. But let me ask you about the GM meeting this week. Gary Bettman says he wants to implement this 5-step plan to limit concussions and deal with them safer. So one of the steps was he's going to take guys who are suspected of having concussions into a locker room, and they're going to be examined by a doctor. What I want to know is, why were they not doing this before? Like, why were the trainers the ones diagnosing the concussion or not concussion?
Well, I think he's scrambling. Maybe there should be 5 words as leave the game, Gary Bettman. Maybe that'll help something out. How's that? That's 5.
5? I couldn't have done that in my head. There's no way I could have done that.
So I'm thinking maybe he's scrambling for an answer for the media, and his first assumption is, why don't we have some scientist at every game that could open some guy's head up and say, you've been concussed. I mean, wake up, Batman. Like, that's just stupid.
Do you ever have a scat test?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I've had a few CAT scans, yes.
No, a scat test, the SCAT test. Yeah, that's what they call them these days. That's the baseline test, I guess.
Yeah. Those are, you know what? Those are bullshit. I was in LA with Adam Deadmarsh. We both wrote one.
And then what happened? After you passed the test, did they let you go back out there?
Adam Denmark's passed a test but never played another game in the NHL.
He retired because of concussion. So what I want to know is, how many times do you think over your career you had a concussion?
I've had probably 8 of them at least on the record for sure.
Were you misdiagnosed with any?
I was at the very beginning of my career. I was with New York Islanders, and I had a concussion, 20 years old, excited, gung-ho, got my chance to play in the show, just got traded from the Leafs, demanded and requested that trade. Went to the Islanders and excited, hit my head in the post on a morning skate, felt a little nauseous. Go see the doctor. He says, "Oh, you're all concussion." 3 days later, the trainer from the Islanders says, "Are you ready to go?" I'm like, "Absolutely, definitely, I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm gung ho." Get into a fight that night. Got a punch, and I was out post-secondary concussion. I lost my speech. I was in intensive care for 3 days.
Wow. And after that, how long were you out, of the lineup?
I was out the rest of the year. I was out for probably 3 months.
And can you tell that today you still suffered any sort of lingering effects from that concussion?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you deal with a lot of psychological issues, right? Your brain's pretty powerful. So, I mean, excuse me. I do have obviously some side effects, but you deal with them, whether it's, the bright lights and the standard nausea and whatnot that most people who've had any concussion symptoms deal with. But, that's the reality of the game. I played with and accepted those terms when I played.
So this 5-step plan, is it really going to do anything?
No. It's just, all it is a media coverage to shut people up for a while. That's all it is.
All's it is? All's it is?
All's it is. All apostrophe it is a media cover-up, Corey.
I have no idea what you just said, but we got to go. All's we got to do is wrap this up. We'll be back next week. Ken Belanger, I'm Corey Landsberg. You've listened to The Code on hockeyprimetime.com.
I'm not afraid to take a stand,